this is a good summary of what we can expect, what's happening now as the storm is off the southwestern Florida coast, what we expect it to happen through the day and into Monday, moving more in a northerly direction, and those local effects, which will break down zone by zone. Most areas will get rain. You'll have occasional gusts, especially west. Those gusts can be more than just gusts, but more sustained tropical storm winds in some portions of our eastern half in the eastern Big Bend and the Swanee Valley, perhaps even into the state line South Georgia region. So the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center, not much has changed with the overall expectation of the storm's movement. Locally, it's still likely that we'll have a landfall point within our local territory. So we cannot discount that possibility. Zooming it in, giving a little more of a top-down view, less of an angle, which gives a better perspective of what the cone's orientation is in relation to the county where you live. Eastern Big Bend is here. Landfall points, again, forecast to be there, but it can be anywhere within that whitish shade. So we cannot discount the wobbles, the little wiggles, the slight little shifts that can happen. At this point, it's not about looking at the spaghetti plots and all that stuff, because now we are able to monitor this almost in real time with radar imagery along the Florida peninsula. But the local effects that we will have, less rain, less breezy to the west. At the coast and offshore, that's where we'll have the strongest wind forces, sustained tropical storm winds, near hurricane force gusts. The storm surge will be likely highest on the eastern shores, but with the onset and approach of the center, those western areas will have that first little rise in the water levels, and then the heavy rain and gusty wind combination, that's going to be felt especially near and east of the center, and that's going to put a big focus on the Swanee Valley. So that's where it is right now, a little ways off of Fort Myers. That's the center of circulation. The radars kind of doesn't really go far beyond that, but that's where most of the storm action is on the east side. That's pretty typical of a developing tropical storm. That moisture wraps around, and then it will start to get a little more better shape and a little more intensification to where it is prompting hurricane warnings for Appalachia Bay, some inland eastern Big Bend counties, Lafayette, Madison, Jefferson, you're included in that. It simply means you can have winds that can approach or perhaps even exceed 74 miles per hour. I'd say in gusts. The highest chances will be along the coast, but maybe some gusts could reach that threshold across those counties. There are hurricane watches elsewhere along Franklin County, combined with a tropical storm warning. Tallahassee Metro, tropical storm warning. From Grady to Lowndes County, and then arcing over into the Swanee Valley. Western Hamilton, Swanee County, simply meaning those tropical storm force winds and gusts are probable by Monday morning. Storm surge will range from about, I'd say, 3 to 6 feet across the western side of the bend over towards the Ocklawahamie River, and then higher as you move south along Taylor County, where some estimates are about 6 to 10 feet. Here's an exclusive product here for First to Know Weather as far as an analysis of highest storm surge, 3 to 6 on the northern edge of the coast of Taylor County, but a little ways north of Keaton Beach. That's where we're going to see maybe the highest storm surge, likely because of the approach and the angle of the low pressure circulation, or perhaps by then the eye of the hurricane that can force more wind in that portion of Taylor County and enhance the water levels. Flooding is a huge concern. I'd say that's the highest concern I have compared to winds, because we're going to have a lot of rain accumulation along and east of the center, and the system is forecast to slow down some across southeast Georgia. That can prolong the heavy rain, especially around the I-75 corridor into the east, as those gustier winds will be more of a temporary battle for many of us with widespread tropical storm force winds, some of that carrying into inland areas. We can certainly have a possibility of some gusty winds that come across our coastal areas initially. So that's where we have the highest risk for the highest winds and the storm surge risk for Taylor Coast and the northern Nature Coast. Across the western side of the coast, we can also have winds sustained about 45 to maybe as high as 75, stronger winds and gusts offshore, and the storm surge around 2 to 4 feet in western areas, 3 to 7 in central locations. We'll also break down those inland impacts that we do anticipate coming up in just a few minutes, including the Swanee Valley, where those rain totals will trigger some flooding. Continuing our zone-by-zone breakdown of storm expectations in the eastern sections of the inland Big Bend region. Wind gusts can reach upwards of 45 to 60. I'll give you a generous peak up to especially with totals around 4 to 10 inches. Gusty winds can cause some power outages. I'd say numerous, just to be on the safe side, if you will. Maybe a little more anticipation of wind gusts that can affect some power lines and trees and whatnot. Also, south central Georgia, that's going to be another prime spot for a huge flooding concern. 6 to 12-inch rain totals, because this is where it's likely to slow down. Debbie will slow down and will still have a lot of moisture to deposit. Winds will not be as much of a factor, but you can still encounter scattered to numerous power outages across the I-75 corridor in east and south Georgia. Thomas County, Leon, Inland, Wakulla will also be kind of generous with the winds, about 35 to 60, especially if the eye comes a little closer to the 319 corridor. 3 to 6 inch rainfall totals, that can cause some spot flooding and some flash flooding possibilities. And of course, with any kind of sustained tropical storm winds, power does become an issue in terms of losing it. The lighter effects will be here in the tri-state area and along the three rivers, where wind gusts will be less frequent and not as strong. Rain will be lighter, maybe up to 4 inches east of the Flint River, and not as many power outages for this region from Debbie.